little twist on it. So many of you guys know, if you don't, I am a huge car enthusiast, love everything about cars. So that's the twist. This is going to be like a very car themed talk, but I was thinking last week and oh, come on now, Emily, geez. And I just wanted to give my own talk about succeeding as a Cutco rep. Now, this talk is going to be on the basics. Okay, this is not going to be a fancy new selling technique that's going to solve all your problems, answer all your problems. This is just the basics. Okay, so let's share this and get this underway. So I got a cool PowerPoint that I made for you guys here. So check it out. Is your check engine light on? The 5 keys to having a healthy engine in vectors. So I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, there was a time when I was a new rep and I got to about like 6K in sales and I hit a big slump and I couldn't get out of it. And I was trying all this new stuff. I was learning at this point, I learned a lot. I've been to several conferences, several events, plenty of team meetings, plenty of champs clubs, rising stars. And I absorbed a lot of information about the business and how to be a better rep, how to improve your presentation. But at this point, again, I was still in a slump. No clue what was going on. And at this point, Liz was my captain. She was my original manager. And she asked me, she was talking to me, she's like, well, what the heck is going on? Like, you're learning all this stuff. Like, why are you not selling? Like, why are you not getting out of this slump that you're in? And she suggested something to me that I didn't even consider. She was like, well, you're learning all this stuff and trying to implement all this stuff into your demo and changing it up so much. Why not just go back to the basics and do what worked in the beginning? So that's what this talk is going to be about, is just the basics, the main points of having a healthy engine. And of course, I tied it into car stuff because why not? I'm fun like that. So let's move on. So the first part here is there are 5 things that an engine needs to run, okay? 5 main things. And all of these things are going to be tied into Vector, I promise, in a little bit. But let's get into it. What are the 5 things that an engine needs to run? First thing, pretty obvious, it's fuel, right? You need fuel in your tank, you need gas to go, right? Next, you need fresh air. You need air coming into the system. And then after that, you're going to need compression, right? Compression is what builds up the pressure to create the power, essentially. And then you also need timing, making sure everything is in sync. And lastly, you need spark, okay? So this is great, car nerd, but how does it relate to Vector, right? I thought this was many of you guys are probably like, I thought this was a Vector team event, not mechanics 101. Well, let's relate all of these things to Vector. So first things first, let's start with the obvious one, fuel. All right, so what is the fuel to your business? Pretty easy. It's phone numbers, right? Having people to call, having a names list. This is one of the first things that we bring up to you guys in training is on day 1, building your names list, right? We teach you guys how to create a massive list of people and how on average, we as Americans through social media, contacts in our phone, all these people, we're connected to over 664 people. And that includes grandma who has like 4 contacts in her phone. So she brings the averages down. So that's phone numbers, right? Having a big list. Also, consider this, what kind of fuel are you using? You guys pull up to the gas station, you see different options for gas that you can put into your car, right? Obviously, there's like the regular 87 that most of you guys probably use, right? But there's different types of numbers that you can be using, different types of people that you can be calling. For example, your chicken list, right? Those people that you're scared to call that we always bring up to you guys, but you still haven't called them yet. In most cases, the chicken list, those people turn out to be some of the best customers, right? So don't be afraid to use different types of fuel as long as it's good. Also consider this, how full is your tank, right? Are you running on empty right now, right? That's not really good. If you're running on empty, I don't know if you guys knew this, but your tank of gas should not drop below a quarter tank because all of like the little debris and everything at the bottom of the gas tank, once you get to like below quarter tank, all that little crap just starts getting sucked into the system and you don't want that in your engine. So you always want to have a full tank. Same concept here. Are you only having do you only have like 10 people or 20 people on your names list? Are you running on fumes right now? Right? It kind of sucks calling the same people over and over again at the same team events every single time in the week. It's like, oh, nobody's picking up, nobody's answering, and you only have 10 to 15 people on your names list, right? But how much better are you going to be feeling with a full tank of gas? 100 people on your names list, 200 people on your names list, right? How often are you filling up your tank too? Are you remembering to fill up your tank, right? Are you remembering to, as you're running out of people to call, as you're running out of demos to book, are you brainstorming more people? Are you thinking of more people to add to your list, right? So that's the obvious one. That one's fuel. Pretty simple. So what's next? We got the air intake, all right? So what does the air intake represent? So Liz kind of mentioned this earlier, which I'm glad she did. So this one is all about growth, okay? It's learning focused. It's what you intake into your mind, right? One of the things that Liz said that us as division leaders, we thought of is we are hungry to grow, right? We're hungry to learn, to develop ourselves, to get better, right? One of the things that I learned as a new rep right off the bat is you grow by showing up. There's so many events throughout the week that we have going on that are specifically designed to help you guys learn and grow. Team meeting, right? The talk that I'm giving right now, you learn by showing up. Phone jams, right? Champs clubs, rising stars, rising star on Saturday mornings, Sunday night phone jams, right? You get to network, you get to learn, talk to people. Also, there's field training, right? Going on demos with other people. You guys can do that whenever you want. It's your schedule, right? So are you showing up? Are you willing to learn? Also, see this little thing on the intake right here? This is the intake, by the way, if you guys didn't realize. This cone right here, this is a filter, right? So are you guys filtering out the bad things that you don't want in your system, right? And here's what I mean by that. Are you guys filtering out all of that social media scrolling time that you don't need, right? Like during a team meeting, if you're bored or something on Zoom, like, and you just start scrolling, are you canceling that out? You don't want that type of stuff going on, right? So what other resources are there for growing? Well, there's a lot of things that we've talked about recently, but there's Vector Connect talks. Has anybody recently gone into the Vector Connect library and looked up talks on how to sell more Cutco, right? Vector Connect has a huge library of people. Also, again, like I mentioned earlier, field training. There's also podcasts, Changing Lives Selling Knives. It's such a cool podcast to listen to. Like, instead of just listening to music in your car, just throw on a podcast and learn while you're driving. They're actually pretty fun. They're pretty entertaining. There's one day, I think I listened to four episodes. Each episode is like 45 minutes long. But there was one day I listened to like 4 episodes back to back, just because they were so good. So the next one, again, is intake. So are you choosing to grow? So we have fuel, we got air covered. What is next? Next is going to be compression. So I had a little bit of trouble trying to like think of something that I could relate to this, but then I realized compression is like all about building pressure. It's building pressure like in the cylinder, right? Preparing for that explosion, creating power. So compression is all about your goals, right? Your whys. It puts pressure on you to take action, right? So with this one here, I was thinking about this, and progress feels good, right? Like as you're thinking of your goals, or as you're brainstorming your goals and working towards those goals, like that pressure, the pressure is good, but the progress that you make also feels really good. Like how many of you guys have had days where you have like goals that you're working for, but you don't really do anything towards them, or you don't really work towards them? By the end of the day, like you've had that on your mind all day, but by the end of the day, you feel like crap because you didn't do anything, right? It kind of sucks. But if you make progress towards those goals, those whys, the reasons that you're working, right? It feels great. So as I was thinking about this, as I was making this presentation, I came across a cool video from Simon Sinek, which is Start With Why. He has a book on it. It's a really cool talk and idea. And Claire's been talking about this for the last a few weeks ago. She gave the whole talk on creating vision boards, creating whys, making goals for yourself. But I just want to do like a quick 1.5 minute recap on why and why you want to start with why. So let's go over to this video, and we're just going to watch like the first minute and a half of this just because I didn't want to leave this out. I ran across it and I thought it was really good. So let's check this out really quick.
Probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, but very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? And why should anyone care? The inspired leaders and the inspired organizations all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have, the goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. If you
Okay, so this is not a talk on why or goal creating, but again, just a cool reminder because the demo is built that way, right? The first thing that you guys talk about is you tie your customer into your goals, right? Sharing your why. So do you have those goals? Do you have them ready to be shared during the presentation? So that is compression, right? So we got fuel, air, and compression. What is next? Next is timing. This one is should be pretty obvious to you guys, but this one is all about your schedule, how you manage your time, okay? So without proper timing in an engine, everything becomes chaotic and the engine basically destroys itself. Let me repeat that. Without proper timing, everything becomes chaotic and the engine destroys itself. So let that sink in a little bit. If you do not have a schedule made, your life is probably a mess, right? You don't know what's going on. You don't know when things are going on. You kind of plan things like as they come up, maybe like the day of, or you just kind of go with the flow. But creating a schedule, having a plan, knowing what's going to be happening as the weeks go on, that's going to help you guys out a lot. That's, again, one of the things that we teach in training right off the bat is creating a schedule, how to manage your time. It's really simple. There's 3 steps. It's just put everything you know you have going on in your schedule, block off time for like phoning or booking up demos, then book demos. It's really not that hard, right? So also, do you have time in your schedule to plan? A lot of people, especially in Vector, and just in general, if they make a schedule, they're going to be planning out their weeks. They're going to have time dedicated in their weeks to be planning out their weeks as they come up, right? So I know one thing that I'm pretty sure Jason does every Sunday at some point during the day, he takes some time and just plans out what his week looks like. So he knows he has focus, and where focus goes, energy flows, okay? So that is timing. That is your schedule. Lastly, let's talk about Spark, okay? This one is pretty simple, but Spark is taking action, okay? So at this point in an engine, you have fuel, you have an air mixture, it's all compressed, the timing is right. The last thing to occur before the cycle resets is the spark ignites. And it creates a reaction that moves the system forward, that creates power, right? Same thing here. Spark is all about taking action, right? None of us can make you guys take action. This one is all on you, right? If you have a proper goal, if you have goals that put pressure on you to work, if you have numbers to call, if you've been growing, you've been showing up to team meetings, phone jams, you're booking demos, right? You're ready to go. You have a schedule made. It's time to take some action. And what's one of the best ways that you guys can take action right away? That's right. It's called picking up the phone and start dialing. All right. So let's do a quick recap, right? Fuel, numbers to call, intake, choosing growth, new information, always learning, compression, your goals, your why, what's putting pressure on you to work, timing, your schedule, making sure you have a plan, and then Spark is taking action. And when you have everything working, you have a properly running engine and a healthy running engine too. Now, I know there's a lot of little nitpicky stuff out there. It's like, oh, well, what about like oil and stuff like that? No. Again, this is just the basics, right? So let me ask you this. Is there something that you're missing? Is your check engine light on, right? What happens? What do you do when you're driving your car and you see that little check engine light pop up? What do you do in that scenario? You take it to a mechanic, right? You go get it looked at, you go get it checked out, you see what's wrong, you figure it out, and they'll help you. They'll help you fix whatever is going on. You know who the mechanics are in this business? It's the managers, it's the leadership team, key staff, TLA, division manager, district managers, the DOM, right? All of us are here to help you guys learn and grow. So if there's something that you're missing, if there's something that's causing you not to have success lately, talk to your manager, go to a mechanic. We're mechanics now, by the way, guys, just so you know. So talk to somebody, get some help, figure out what is going on, what is the reason, and get it fixed, right? So lastly, is your vector engine running healthy right now? Just something to consider. So that is all I got. If you didn't take away anything, I hope you at least learned how an engine works. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Wow. Josh, that was amazing. Can we get some love for Josh in the chat, please? All right. Blow that chat up.